Hey guys, this is Jason. I'm reviewing Backrooms, directed by Kane Parsons, and stars Chitwell, Edgiafor, and Renate Reinave, and it is based on the YouTube series of the same name with the same creator. And it is about Clark, who runs a store where they sell furniture, but also finds a passage that leads him to an endless room of hallways and different rooms for him to find, where there are no exits and no windows for him to get out of. And both of them are trapped in these endless rooms where they're also being chased by some sort of entity that's trying to find them. I don't know much about the Backrooms series. All I know is that I've seen the original short film, but I haven't watched any of the other ones they made after that. I only got my knowledge from that short just so that I can get myself prepped up for this movie. And I know it became insanely popular when that started becoming a thing, but I still decided to go and see this film because I am one of those people that loves to support other YouTubers making movies nowadays, and we've been getting a lot of them recently. Like over the years, we've been getting a lot of those, like the Raka brothers for Talk to Me, or Chris Stuckman for Shelby Oaks, Markiplier for The Iron Lung, Michael Shanks for Together, and most recently, Curry Barker for Obsession. And honestly, when I walked out of this film, I felt very confused and just feeling lost about what I was watching. And this movie does a great job at doing that. Since this is a movie about two characters getting themselves lost in the back rooms, the movie did a good job with that. And I think that's a good thing because nowadays we don't get a lot of movies where people would see and get confused and think about what they saw and just analyze them. Now granted, this is by no means a great movie. It still has some issues with its story, which we'll get to later, but this is still a creepy movie. And I think what makes it help being creepy is with both the cinematography and the sets, where they give the film a very creepy and unsettling feel, where you start to feel like you're on edge about what's gonna happen. They both help make this film feel like you're on edge about what you're seeing Clark walk through. Whether you're seeing him in a room where there's just a bunch of weird clothes lying around, or when you're just seeing him try to go through a small door, or when you're just seeing things like, for some reason, chairs looking like they're sinking through the floor or the walls. And this movie at times would also use some found footage to help elevate the tension. And yes, this is a tired trope that we used to see a lot in the 2010s, but there were still a lot of found footage movies from that decade that turn out to be pretty terrible, where it would feel more like a gimmick, but this movie doesn't really use it that way. It just uses it for two scenes, and those scenes are very intense and creepy, especially when you get some shots, in particular one scene involving a pile of clothes where you look at something there and you're like, is that? Oh, oh God, that is terrifying. So both the found footage, the cinematography, and the sets did help elevate the fear factor. Another thing that does help is with the sound design, where most of it is very silent when the characters are walking around in these back rooms, but then all of a sudden you get like a loud noise that's supposed to help build a jump scare. This movie also does something that I wasn't expecting. Without getting into spoilers, there are two characters that appear in the film, and the movie decides to shift some things around with them. And that's something that I haven't really seen in a lot of movies. I know it sounds vague, but I'm doing my best to talk about it without getting into spoilers. Now, as for the story and characters, that's where some of my issues come in, because where we're introduced to our two main characters, Clark and Mary, and we learn a little bit about their backstories. But after we learn them, you don't really see how their backstories continue on throughout the film or make them feel like they're changing as characters. Maybe other than Clark, but not with Mary. Because with Clark, you get to learn that he's having issues in his marriage and he doesn't have any other place to go. And he's trying to move on with that and have a new life. And when he finds out about the back rooms, that becomes like a new and crazy thing for him. And then he goes down a different path where you can see that he's already being a different person, but you don't really get to see how he became that way, because it's really told through one exposition scene. And you don't really get to see much of that being resolved, because throughout most of this film, you see him being a broken person to being something else later on. As for Mary's backstory, you learn a little bit about her trauma that she had when she was a kid, but the way they showed it and explained it more just made it feel convoluted, making you wonder, like, how did this happen that way? And that's how both of these characters feel for me, where they have arcs that are set up, but the movie doesn't really do much to make them feel like they're evolving throughout the film, making both of them feel like they're underwritten. Now, acting-wise, both Chitwell, Edgiafor, and Reinave do a really good job. It's just the writing for the characters that was the problem. Backrooms isn't an amazing film. It does have some issues with its main characters, but for a first feature film made by someone in his early 20s and is known for making videos on YouTube, he did a pretty solid job by giving us a creepy atmosphere with great cinematography and great sets and use of found footage. And the acting make this film worth watching in theaters. It's not quite as creepy or as unsettling as Obsession, but this movie still creeped me out. I'm gonna give Backrooms a B+. So guys, if you have seen Backrooms, what do you think about it? Do you think it's a great movie, or do you think that this is not as good as Obsession? Let me know in the comments below. And as always, if you like this video, then please leave a like and subscribe to my channel so you don't miss a thing, because it helps my channel grow. Hit the notification bell so you know what other videos I'm posting. Follow me on Facebook and Instagram. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next one.